friends, Zoe here, and today I'm joined by
Michaela,
my amazing friend Michaela. I'll link all her links down below. Today we've decided to talk to you guys about manifesting money, vision board success, and paying off debt, because this is something that we've both been working on. Yeah. Well, we'll just get into it. So let's get started. Alright, so I wanted to talk to you guys about this today because, as you know, I set one of my New Year's resolutions is to finally pay off my student loan, my BC student loan, which I've had for, well, since I left, since I left school in Toronto. I was very adamant at paying it off at first, and I had increased my monthly payments, but then moving to Rome, I decreased my monthly payments, and I just kind of tried to ignore the fact that I had a student loan. But in reality, the interest you get charged on something like this is a little crazy. So Michaela's really inspired me with my goal to pay off my debt by the end of the year. So
you're gonna get it done.
Yeah. So I wanted to let you guys know a little bit of the action plan, because that's what I promised by letting you guys know my goals. I was gonna let you guys know how I plan to achieve them. I have increased my monthly payments to quite a high amount, an amount that's probably definitely out of my comfort zone to pay per month. But in reality, I think in my head, I always think well, when I make a bunch of money, then I'll put half of it on there, I'll get it paid off. But in reality, if you aren't chipping away at it on a monthly basis, it's not going to happen. No. It's not going to happen, because I know myself, and I know that last year I had such an amazing time in Rome, and I just paid my minimum payments on my student loan, and it was fine, but I just pretended it didn't exist. But in reality, if I would have kept up with how much I was paying when I previously lived in Toronto, I would be at a far lower rate than I am now. Yeah. I've decided that the money that I make from all of my books this year, half of it is going to be going to my student loan. My goal is that by the end of the year, I'm very, very motivated right now to have it paid off, because Michaela's really inspired me, because you're so conscious with your money, and you have some amazing tips to share with people, like your cash tips.
I started just using cash. I know for some things it doesn't work, if you need to keep a record of medical expenses or whatever, but for everyday things like gas or groceries, I've tried to use cash, because I find for me, cash hurts more to spend. If I were to spend $100 cash versus on my credit or debit,
it's much more real.
Yeah, it's much more real, and with the debit or credit, you don't see it go on.
Yeah.
So spending cash has been something that made me very aware of how much I'm spending, because some days, you can go to the mall and spend 80, 90, 100 bucks, and so I make budgets. Every paycheck, which is 2 weeks for me, I don't have a consistent paycheck, so I kind of figure out the minimum amount I'm gonna make, and then I budget from there. So my rent, my car insurance, everything, those are all my every month expenses. Yep. And then after that, I put a little bit of money towards, I've got a little fund that I keep in cash for car maintenance, vacation, my wedding. I've got a few others, I can't think of them off the top of my head. And those I keep stored away so that I don't see the money in my account, because otherwise I'll want to spend it. And having that budget helps, if I budget, say, $60 for spending for 2 weeks of just me spending whatever. I know if I go out for dinner and a coffee with a friend, maybe that's $40 gone, and I've got $20 left for the rest of those 2 weeks, and once that cash is gone, it's gone. So that definitely helps.
I know in the past I've done this, and it has been super successful for me, and even in Europe, because I don't have a European bank account, when I pull out money, I would pull out a larger sum of, say, euros, and that would be my cash for the month. And of course, there are certain things that I have to pay on my credit card, if I'm booking flights or booking travel or an Airbnb, things like that, that needs to be done through credit card. Because I know some people, we've been watching a lot of these how to pay off your debt videos, and they talk about cutting up your credit cards and only using cash. We know that that's not
realistic for
our lifestyles, so we've just decided to be more conscious.
And even if I don't have my credit card numbers memorized, so that's good, but even if you put them in a drawer and they're not cut up. I remember you one time froze your credit card.
Yeah. So this was in university, and I maxed out my credit card. It was allowed $500 or something, and I maxed it out, and I felt so guilty about it that I literally put it into a plastic container with water and stuck it in the freezer and froze it. So that if I felt the need to buy something after I was beginning to pay it off, it was a lot of work. I had to pull it out of the freezer. I had to watch myself with all this in the hot water. So it would be a process for me to have to really think about, is it really worth it? Is it really worth paying it off? And so instead of cutting it up, I knew this credit card didn't expire for another couple of years. It didn't make sense to cut it up. I would just literally freeze it and wait until I paid it off and I was ready to be more responsible. So So that's one method.
Yeah, it definitely can help. And like, even if you just put it in a drawer, like out of sight, out of mind, or I know when I've got cash in my wallet, I feel like good when I don't spend it. So that's just me. I know some people would rather pay on their cards. So I mean, to each his own. You have to do what works for you.
I don't like to have cash in my wallet because I feel like it is disposable to me. Yeah. Because I was a server, and I think that came with being a server is you get cash at the end of the night, and then you just feel like you have so much of it. One tip though is after I was very conscious about saving, which I feel like you definitely need to have a goal in mind.
Yes.
Goal is so important for saving. So when I finally decided I was moving to Toronto, I was so determined. Yeah. There was no more of this like frivolous spending as a server, right? So every time I finished my shift and I had cash, I would drive to the bank and put it in and just drive away. Like it didn't happen. And I would live off of the paychecks that I was getting. Tips just went straight into the bank. Unless, of course, something unexpected happened with my car. Yeah. Of course, life's things happen. But for the most part, I just pretended like the tips that I made didn't exist. Yeah. And I found that was very, very helpful to me. But like I said, in Europe, when I do have to pull out larger sums of money, what I'll do is say pull out a large sum of money, and that will be my spending money for the month. And I'll keep it hidden away in my room somewhere and only keep like, a few bills in my wallet at a time. And just know that this is your food, this is your fun for the month. So
going out.
Yeah.
No, and it definitely helps. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And the vision boards. Oh, yes. So I recently got Michaela into like law of attraction and vision boards. So I made Michaela a vision board when I was visiting in August. And on that vision board, you hadn't yet been hired in your profession yet.
I hadn't passed my exam.
She hadn't passed her exam. We put a check on there for a larger sum of money.
We put me moving to the States.
Yes, and getting married. I told Michaela, give me a sum of money that you would like to have on your vision board. So you told me your student loan amount, so I typed in her name on the check. So I put her name on the check. I put the sum of her student loan, but I remember I put like 10 grand more. I put 10 grand more and sent it back to her. I'm like, go big or go home. Something like that. And I don't know, you said you picked up like something like 7 shifts.
Yeah, in December I picked up 7 shifts, so that's X amount of dollars more. I passed both my Canadian American exams.
Oh, you put it visiting
Travis, yes, on there. I went to his graduation in Georgia. Oh, I got a job, obviously.
And she got a job within 3 days after the vision board. So I mean, obviously, like, she was applying in all these things, but I feel like there definitely is a power in the vision board.
What Zoe had me do is put it as the background on my phone, so every time I get a text or click the on button on my phone, you see it. Every time I get, oh, do you want to pick up the shift? Yes, like, I do want the shift.
Yeah.
That's X amount more dollars that I can put in my bank account towards my debt or towards savings or towards going to see Travis.
Definitely. And it's kind of like how we just talked about, like, out of sight, out of mind with your credit cards, but, like, in sight, in mind. With your vision boards. For example, I didn't have anything to do with my student loan on my vision boards. I literally tried to ignore this forever. Like, I was like, in Rome, like, life is so happy. Like, that was another chapter ago, but I'm like, no, like, you can't just not pay off your student loan. Like, minimum payments, but in reality, suffering for a little period of time is so, like, I can imagine when this student loan gets paid off, I am going to feel so much wealthier because it's going to be this amount of money that I'm making each month that doesn't have to just disappear.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to disappear into my past.
You can put it into your savings.
Yes,
into your future.
Into savings, in my futuro. And lastly, let's talk a little bit about needs versus wants, because I feel like I've been pretty good at minimizing and definitely like only go for the needs. I do get tempted with wants. I feel like my weakness is spending money on travel and food because I just value experiences so much that I feel like I can't put a monetary value on them, but it's something that I should be probably a little bit more conscious of. The student loan will get paid off faster if I was a little bit more conscious of this. What are your tips with needs versus wants? Because you don't consider yourself a minimalist.
No.
Although I have helped her minimize.
She has. I'm not a minimalist at all, but right now I'm very picky on what I spend my money on. So I've heard like a little tip out there, like if there's something that you want, say a new shirt, you think about it for a day or two. Do you need the shirt or do you want it? And then after those 3 days, if you're still thinking about it, maybe I know for me, I try and buy better quality clothing or take good care of my clothing, for example, just so that I don't feel like I need to replace my wardrobe all the time. I do have quite a bit of clothes compared to you, so I mean, a lot of the times when I went to go see my fiance for his graduation, I wanted a new dress, but I didn't end up getting a new dress. I wore, for the ball we went to, I wore a dress that I had worn when I was a bridesmaid this summer, and the dress I wore to his graduation, I wore to a wedding 2 summers ago. So,
and you looked fabulous.
Yeah.
She looked great. So like that's the thing too, is I feel like one thing that I struggled with in the past, especially, is like every time I was invited to a new event, I felt like I needed a new dress. Yeah. And unless, for example, for Jen's wedding in Mexico, like I was a bridesmaid, so I had to buy the dress. I couldn't just go in like a little black dress like all the other ones that I had. So I bought this dress, but luckily her dress is something that I know that I'll wear again. It's very cute.
Yeah, like you'll totally wear it again.
Yeah, I think that's the thing too, is don't feel like you need to. And there are other options out there too. Like, I know you can rent dresses from some places. You can borrow dresses from any of your friends. And, well, since I've been at Michaela's house, I borrowed her sweater. And I've just, like, been wearing her sweater all weekend, because sometimes it's nice to just feel like you're wearing something different. Because all my clothes I know so well, and I just, like, the suitcase life. But sometimes I'll borrow from my friends. When I was in San Diego, and I remember Gabby and I went out for dinner one night, and I just, like, borrowed a sweater of hers. And I just felt like I was wearing something a little bit more new. Not necessarily something I felt like I needed to have in my wardrobe. I wore, like, a yellow sweater, and I only own black sweaters, so it was just different. It was nice. It was a change. So I think utilizing your friends to help you out with your wants versus needs.
Yes.
Anyways, guys, if you have any other tips, leave them down below. If you have any paying off debt goals too, write them down below. We can all hold each other accountable here. And like I said, I'm going to leave all of Michaela's links down below, because she's starting an amazing blog, Mick on the Move, and it's going to be all about her journey, her like lifestyle journey, and also moving to Texas. And yeah, so exciting. All right, guys, have a great day.